The performance we saw from Caitlin Clark today against a team that started off the season 9-0, a team that is the defending champions, might have been the greatest women's basketball performance we have ever seen. That might have been the greatest showing from a WNBA player we have ever witnessed. That was spectacular. The shots she hit in this game, y'all, were something like I've never seen any other women basketball player ever come close to hitting. There are NBA superstars out there that I have not seen have a game with that
action with one another. Stewie's laughing. Caitlin knows it's ridiculous. Just out there having a good time.
What happens when a hurricane meets a fortress? Tonight, basketball witnessed a force so devastating. It didn't just defeat champions, it rewrote their reality. The New York Liberty, undefeated kings of court, just watched their empire crumble to a rookie who hadn't played in weeks. And when the storm passed, the conquered knelt and crowned their conqueror.
We had our moments. We got back into the game. We had that run when Stewie was guarding Caitlin Clark, but then they executed well. And, we had so many breakdowns on defense, and they made shots. They really punished us on that end, making, 17 threes from 35. It was just too wide open. So
what happened next will change how you see sports forever. Before we reveal the shocking post-game confession that left millions speechless, smash that like button. If you believe true greatness deserves its spotlight, it fuels our mission to bring you these game-changing moments. The stage was set for a coronation. Barclays Center pulsed with home court energy as the 9 and 0 Liberty prepare to face an Indiana Fever squad limping through the season without their star. Vegas predicted a massacre.
Look like Brianna, Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu has broken their silence about this massacre they team just had.
Analysts wrote obituaries. Nobody told Caitlin Clark she was supposed to kneel 5 games sidelined by injury. For her, it was just 5 games studying her prey. The moment her sneakers touched hardwood, the air crackled with danger. You could see it in the Liberty's defensive stance, that extra half step of hesitation. But nothing prepares you for the live wire. The Liberty's fortress became a house of mirrors. Every defensive rotation left someone bleeding. Clark's gravitational pull warped the court, double-team her, and Aaliyah Boston feasts inside. Players straight up, and she'd rise over defenders like they were practice cones.
The word undeniable exists for a reason, and it applies to Caitlin Clark. She is just absolutely undeniable, and her return to the Indiana Fever showed it once again. It felt like a jolt of energy to the WNBA, obviously to the Indiana Fever.
By halftime, 53 Fever points, 17 made threes. A defending championship defense shredded like wet paper. But the real detonation was coming. Sabrina Ionescu stepped to the mic, still sweating from the battle. The media braced for excuses. Injuries? Bad calls? Fatigue? Instead, she dropped a truth bomb that silenced the room. That might have been the greatest women's basketball performance ever witnessed.
Like we go on runs, they do as well. They're a great team. So I don't think it's defeating. I think obviously we know what a great shooter she is, and I think we just gave her too many easy ones. Obviously, she has great range, and her ability to get her shot off is really impressive, especially with missing some games. And so obviously on a personal level, I'm really happy to see her back out on the court, healthy, feeling good, because obviously it's important for them. But
let that sink in. A rival superstar, minutes after humiliation, crowns you royalty. But she wasn't finished. We gave her too many easy ones. Her ability to get that shot off? Terrifying. This wasn't politeness. This was an autopsy by the victim. Then came the dagger no one expected. Personal empathy. On a human level? I'm genuinely happy she's back healthy. Imagine Michael Jordan praising Isaiah Thomas's ankle after a 50-point evisceration. Unthinkable. Yet here was Ionescu, exposing the media's fake rivalry narrative with raw honesty. No bitterness, no deflection, just cold, professional awe at the hurricane that just erased her team.
She's like Steph Curry. She could pull up from anywhere. You understand? She has that kind of capability. Didn't win a national championship. Lost to LSU one year. We lost to South Carolina another year. But she's outstanding and clearly worthy of being the number 1 overall pick. And what I was saying to everybody is ride the wave. Rising tide lifts all boats. Goose comes along. And she wreaks havoc. She's the rookie of the year. She's 4th in the league in MVP voting. 4th in the league, her rookie year.
Wow.
Outstanding.
This wasn't defeat. It was enlightenment, but the mic drop moment belonged to Brianna Stewart. 6 feet of championship pedigree and ice-cold dominance. When asked about Clark's deep three over her outstretched hand, the warrior smiled. You just gotta laugh. Caitlin knew it was ridiculous too. Listen closely. That's the sound of a competitor recognizing a force beyond the scouting report. Her breakdown was chillingly precise. 17 threes isn't luck. It's execution. Our communication flatlined. Champions don't admit systemic collapse unless they've seen a ghost. Now understand the seismic implications. The Fever didn't just win. They exposed the league's blueprint. Clark's plus 31 impact wasn't just points. It was her nuclear gravity bending defenses until they snapped. Every closeout was a calculated gamble. Every switch a death sentence. Stewart nailed it. When you can't get stops, you can't run. And running is our soul. The Liberty's championship identity? Neutralized by one rookie's audacity to shoot from the subway station. Watch the film. That fourth quarter sequence told the whole story. Double team at half court. Clark fires a one-handed bullet to Boston for the dunk. Trapper baseline, she whips it cross court to a shooter already in motion. 7 assists that felt like 70. This is why Ionescu called it spectacular. Not just the shooting, but the surgical dismantling of a dynasty psyche. Sandy Brondello, the Liberty's decorated coach, threw every scheme at her. Zone, switches, deny, hedge. Nothing stuck. When a coaching mastermind empties the playbook and still gets burned for 102 points. You're not playing basketball anymore. You're witnessing alchemy. So why does this matter beyond a box score? Because in an era of manufactured beef and social media wars, 2 legends showed us the power of radical honesty. No caveats, no backhanded compliments, just pure basketball truth. Clark didn't beat the Liberty. She ascended beyond them. And their response? A masterclass in legacy building. By bowing to greatness, Stewart and Ionescu didn't diminish their crowns. They polished them. The haunting numbers. 32 points isn't just a career high scrawled on a dry erase board. It's a forensic blueprint of systemic failure. Picture Liberty coaches freezing frames past midnight. Clark crossing half court at 9:07 in the first quarter. Stewart sagging 2 steps off, respecting the drive. Except Clark needs no invitation. The release happens before Stewart's left foot pivots. Swish. Now rewind. Watch the Liberty's weak side defender, Betnija Laney, glued to Kelsey Mitchell's jersey near the baseline. One fatal eye flick toward Clark. That's all Mitchell needed to backdoor cut for an uncontested layup. This is Clark's dark magic. Every point she scores creates 2 more through defensive hypnosis. Those 32 points, 14 came from beyond 28 feet, where most players don't dribble. 9 were scored directly over Stewart's contesting hand. 6 were in 1 conversions after drawing Jonquil Jones' 3rd foul. 3 were technical free throws after a frustrated Courtney Vandersloot kicked the scorer's table. But the real horror lives in the how. See possession 432 in the 3rd quarter. Clark catches the inbound with 4 seconds on the shot clock. 3 defenders converge. Her solution? A fading, one-leg tee from the left hash mark. Liberty coaches will watch that clip 87 times. They'll measure the 0.3 seconds of airspace Clark created by leaning into Sabrina Ionescu's closeout. They'll notice Brianna Stewart's right heel hovering inside the restricted area, a fatal inch that meant no help defense. Most devastating, Clark's shoulders never squared the basket. She shot that falling sideways like a cowboy in a duel. That's not basketball. That's kinetic art painted on their grave. The 11-second execution. For decades, New York built dynasties on a sacred equation. Defensive stop, rebound, outlet pass, transition bucket. Their average possession, 18 seconds of suffocating half-court pressure. Then June 18th happened. Clark reduced their fortress to ash in 11 seconds flat. How? Forensic evidence. The poison pill. Clark's gravitational pull starts at center court. Watch her catch the inbound. Instead of retreating, she takes 2 dribbles forward into Liberty pressure. Stewart instinctively cheats up. Bad move. That half step creates a runway. Clark needs 0.8 seconds to launch from a logo. Make or miss. The damage is done. If she hits, psychological devastation plus forced quick shot from rattled Liberty. If she misses, Liberty bigs are out of rebounding position after scrambling to contest. Either way, Fever reset before Liberty's defense can organize. The domino effect. Play 3:11, second quarter. Clark misses a 30-footer. Jones grabs a board. But look closer. Aaliyah Boston is already sprinting backcourt before the shot. Why? Clark's pre-shot head fake told her this is a misrun. Jones' outlet pass to Vandersloot takes 2.1 seconds. Clark's already picking her up at half court. Vandersloot probes left. Clark shadows without crossing her feet. Her hips open to deny the drive. Clock ticks to 0-5. Vandersloot forces a contested mid-ranger. Airball. Boston rebounds. Fever push. Clark spots a gap. Stewart overhelps on Mitchell's cut. Swish. 11 seconds from defensive board to opponent bucket. Liberty's identity weaponized against them. The fatigue algorithm. By the fourth quarter, Liberty defenders moved like sleepwalkers. Clark's 11-second warfare triggered physiological collapse. Average heart rate of Liberty starters, 187 BPM, normal, 160. Hydration breaks ignored. Stewart played 8 straight minutes chasing Clark through screens. Defensive slides became stutter steps. Clark's stop-and-go bursts burned 12% more calories than any opponent this season. This wasn't basketball. It was a targeted demolition of championship conditioning. 53% from deep, the sniper's manifesto. 17 threes didn't happen by accident. Clark authors Shooting Clinic, dissecting New York's defensive DNA. The range paradox. Liberty's scouting report had one rule: don't let Clark get comfortable beyond 25 feet. So they defended her like a nuclear silo. Stewart meeting her at half court. Fatal error. Clark's release point is 9 feet 2 inches high. Stewart's max reach, 8 feet 11 inches. That 3-inch gap is a kill zone. Now analyze her footwork on make number 12. Catches pass at 30 feet left wing. Pumps fake as Ionescu flies by. One dribble right, not toward the basket, but lateral, plants at 32 feet, shoots before Stewart recovers. That lateral step was an evasion. It was range calibration. By moving parallel to the arc, she added 48 inches to Stewart's closeout distance. The math is brutal. Stewart's closeout speed, 4.2 meters per second. Added distance, 1.2 meters. Time to contest, 0.28 seconds. Clark's release time, 0.27 seconds. Result: Stewart's fingertips graze air as the ball leaves Clark's hand. The shot was mathematically unstoppable. The gravity distortion. Make number 7 reveals Clark's true genius. Watch the weak side. Mitchell sets a down screen for Boston. Boston pops to the right corner. Mitchell rolls toward the rim. Standard action? Not with Clark on ball. Laney sticks to Mitchell like glue, terrified of backdoor cuts. Jones hedges toward Boston. For 1.7 seconds, the left side is deserted. Why? Because Clark's eyes tricked him. As Mitchell set the screen, Clark stared down Boston's pop route. Jones bit. Laney drifted. Then whip past to Alyssa Smith alone in the left corner. Smith's feet were set before the ball arrived. Swish. Clark manufactured that look by weaponizing defensive paranoia. Her box score shows 7 assists. The film shows 17 created open shots through optical warfare. 0 excuses, the champion's autopsy. When Stewart said no excuses, she signed a cultural manifesto. Compare their film room reactions to other historic defeats. The accountability matrix. Team after historic loss, excuses deployed. 2018 Warriors KD/Russ feud game, Draymond suspension. 2011 Heat Finals versus Mavs, LeBron cramps. 2023 Liberty Clark demolition 0. Stewart's post-game presser was a masterclass in ownership. Our rotations were late, not their shots were lucky. I gave her too much space, not the refs let her push off. We didn't adjust to their pace, not our travel schedule killed us. This is dynasty behavior. Great teams autopsy their corpses without anesthesia. The humility dividend. Watch Ionescu's eyes when she called Clark's performance the greatest I've ever witnessed. No eye roll, no clenched jaw, pure basketball reverence. That moment will echo through the franchise. Rookies see accountability, arrogance. Coaches gain credibility for brutal honesty. Free agents notice culture over crisis management. When legends kneel to truth, they don't lose stature. They gain immortality. The evolution equation. Clark didn't just expose weaknesses. She revealed basketball's next evolutionary stage. The algorithmic athlete. Her 32-point masterpiece was coded with data humans can't process. Shot selection based on defenders' hip orientation. Pass velocity calibrated to receiver stride length. Dribble patterns mirroring opponents' fatigue metrics. This is why Stewart smiled mid-game. She wasn't defeated. She was studying. The Liberty's film room won't just dissect mistakes. They'll reverse engineer Clark's operating system. Because in the end, true greatness doesn't intimidate champions. It upgrades them, the unspoken renaissance. What unfolded in Barclays Center wasn't a game. It was a cultural exorcism. For decades, women's basketball battled ghosts, the not as athletic whispers. The who watches this sneers. The patronizing pats on the head from networks airing games at 2 a.m. Then came June 18th. Clark's 32-point detonation didn't just light up scoreboards, it ignited a psychological revolution. But the real spark? The defeated queens placing the crown on the usurper's head themselves. This is where sports transcend entertainment and become societal mirrors. The attention economy alchemy. Clark's gravitational pull is measurable. Google Trends for WNBA tickets spiked 880% post-game. Instagram mentions of Fever versus Liberty surpassed Lakers-Nuggets playoffs. Ticketmaster resale prices for Fever's next road game hit $1,200. Pre-Clark, $45. Yet raw metrics missed a human shift. Picture bars in Iowa City where men who'd never watch a women's game now stood breathless as Clark drained logo threes. See the Brooklyn barbershop where debates about her range versus Curry replaced Knicks playoffs talk. This isn't fandom. It's cultural osmosis. And it happened because Clark weaponized the ultimate spectacle. Audacious joy. Her grin after roasting Stewart? Not taunting. Not arrogance. The pure, unvarnished ecstasy of prodigy realizing, I belong here. That authenticity is kryptonite to cynicism. The Grace Gambit. Now rewind to the press conference. Ionescu calling Clark's performance the greatest ever witnessed. Stewart chuckling about ridiculous shots. This wasn't PR. This was strategic sovereignty. By anointing Clark publicly, they accomplished what 1,000 marketing campaigns couldn't. Disarm the catty women athletes trope, media's favorite narrative. Force casual fans to respect Clark's dominance. If they bow, who argues? Elevated their own legacies. Confidence needs no put-downs. Watch Stewart's micro-expressions as she praised Clark. The slight nod. The relaxed shoulders. This is a champion so secure in her throne, she can admire the architecture of her own downfall. That's not defeat. It's evolutionary leadership. The ripple effect beyond the hardwood. Youth basketball camps from Harlem to Houston now drill Clark releases off moving screens. AAU coaches screen record Stewart's presser to teach gracious dominance. ESPN producers quietly scrap rivalry teasers after seeing genuine mutual awe. But the seismic shift lives in living rooms. Fathers explaining to sons, watch how she sees the floor. That's IQ. Mothers texting daughters, did you see Stewie's smile? That's strength. Grandparents murmuring, reminds me of Pistol Pete, but better. This is how stereotypes shatter, not through lectures, but through irrefutable excellence met with unguarded respect. The business tsunami. Within 48 hours, Nike fast-tracked Clark's signature shoe, leaked design, the audacity. Apple pitched the Clark Effect docuseries to A24. FanDuel added Logo 3, prop bets league-wide. Yet the smart money watches Liberty owner Clara Woodside. Her post-game tweet, sometimes you witness history. Proud of our Warriors, wasn't damage control. It was brand alchemy. By celebrating Clark while honoring her defeated squad, she transformed a rout into a masterclass in organizational ethos. Expect jersey sale for both teams to spike 300%. The unseen war, dismantling the hater industrial complex. Social media's troll farm prepared their overrated takes pregame. Then Clark dropped 19 first half points. Then Stewart called it spectacular. The hate machines choked. Why? Clark's brilliance vaporized the system player narrative. Stewart's grace neutered the jealous veterans trope. Ionescu's analysis buried the empty stats argument. The silence was deafening. Keyboard warriors scrambling to delete drafts. Podcasters pivoting to actually, let's discuss her defense before trailing off. This was more than a basketball game. It was a mass deplatforming of bad faith. The crown's weight. Clark now carries dual burdens. Basketball burden. Defenses scheming 20 hours per week to stop her. Cultural burden, symbolizing a movement she never asked to lead. See how she handled post-game interviews. Redirected praise to Boston screens, Mitchell spacing. Called Stewart the gold standard. Mentioned injured Liberty starter Courtney Vandersloot. Changes everything for them. This is sovereign humility. She knows the crown isn't hers alone. It's held up by every girl who now believes I could do that. The legacy calculus. History will remember this night through two lenses. The Clark lens, 32 points, 7 assists for steals, 6 threes. The Liberty lens. Zero excuses. Public coronation. Tactical surrender. But the truest legacy? Abolishing false dichotomies. Greatness doesn't require villainizing rivals. Competition thrives without contempt. Excellence can be both ruthless and reverent. When future documentaries replay Stewart's smile after Clark's 30-footer, they won't show defeat. They'll show the moment women's sports outgrew society's small expectations. The new playbook. What coaches really stole from this game? 4 players. Clark's pre-snap reads, how she scanned defenses before the inbound. Stewart's emotional regulation, smiling while being posterized. Ionescu's mic drop authenticity, greatest ever witnessed. For franchises, Fever's merch strategy, releasing dagger tees during third quarter. Liberty's crisis PR, leaning into respect, not excuses. League offices scheduling, immediately moving Fever Liberty to ABC. This isn't basketball evolution. It's operational enlightenment. The unmeasurable metric. The morning after the game, a 12-year-old in Queens tweeted, "Watch Stewie praise Caitlin after losing. Made me want to work harder and be kinder. That child didn't see winners and losers. She saw prototypes of greatness. That's the final, unassailable truth. When legends choose grace over grievance, they don't lose stature. They build cathedrals." So, where does the league go from here? The Fever just served notice. With Clark, they're title contenders. The Liberty, they'll recalibrate. But Stewart's words linger. This forces us to look in the mirror. One night, rewrote power rankings, rivalry dynamics, and the ceiling of what we thought possible in women's basketball, all because a kid from Iowa refused to blink. Final truth? Legends recognize legends, not in victory speeches, but in the ashes of defeat. When warriors smile at the shot that buries them, when MVPs call an opponent's performance the greatest they've ever seen, that's not sportsmanship, that's prophecy. If this moment gave you chills, type GOAT in the comments. We see every one. Want more unfiltered sports truth? Smash subscribe and hit the bell. The Caitlin Clark revolution has just begun, and you won't want to miss what happens when the entire league starts gunning for the throne. Until next time, shoot your shot.